Trauma and the Masks We Wear. These films use effect, or the bodily/embodied experience created by film, to paint a complex picture of traumatized youth in Japan. The masks that these characters wear and the contrasting identities they have showcase contemporary Japan's response to trauma and lost times, periods of change where the plights of youth are forgotten and tucked away. In my first film, Funeral Parade of Roses, I will be analyzing Eddie in his transition from insecure boy to diva through effect. When Eddie is pictured pre transition, at home with his mom, the mood is much more mundane and subdued. Eddie wears a plain white shirt with a simple comb over and is treated very poorly. When Eddie tells his mom to forget his absent father because she has him already, his mom laughs in his face. When Eddie dons makeup and kisses his reflection in the mirror, his mom beats him. This trauma lurks in the back of his mind, flashing back throughout the movie and showcasing Eddie's inner turmoil. Quote, these uncanny memories of a repressed act are now transformed to the present in a chaotic flicker, no doubt designed to mimic the imagined functioning of human thought. G67. I chose this frame because of its conflicting image of Eddie. In contrast to his childhood, Eddie is now the center of attention. He stands out from the crowd of people, wearing cute, stylish outfits with light covering one side of his face. However, this attention is not always wanted. He is fetishized, envied, and the rest of his face sits in shadow. This mask, which allows Eddie to be truly himself, to have fun, be wild, free, and sexual, also causes Eddie to be, quote, a marginalized subject of social voyeurism and curiosity. G. Eddie's mask in the film itself, with its wild intercutting and nonlinear narrative, affect the viewer deeply, putting us into the shoes of not just Eddie, but of queer lives of the 70s during a transitional time where queer culture was leaving the shadows it previously resided in. In my second film, all about Lily Shushu, I will be analyzing the contrast between Yuichi and Philia, and Hoshino and Blue Cat, the two main characters and their online personas respectively, and looking at how this affects the viewer. Yuichi and Hoshino begin as friends, but transition more to become a goon and their bully overlord. I see both of these characters as personifications of different aspects of Japanese trauma from a period of emotional and economic recession characterized by a massive increase in youth violence and suicide, where these youth are stuck at a crossroads of misdirection and loneliness, Powell, with no adults to guide them. These two boys both channel their frustration differently, with Yuichi choosing more of a bystander role, content to be kicked around until he finally snaps in the end. Hoshino instead pushes his rage and hatred onto himself and the people around him, committing horrible acts of violence to vent his resentment of a system and family that abandoned him. However, these boys share a beautiful friendship online as Philly and Blue Cat, feeling they are only understood by each other despite the abuse one suffers from the other. This contrast of masks and personalities, their shared escape into music and the ether, the despair they share, is all pushed into the viewer through effect, the music sending us into a dream world where we can escape with the troubled youth of the movie. The masks the characters in these films wear are vastly different, but are very helpful in providing the viewer with an empathetic bodily experience. We can share despair, have fun, and yet wallow in our miseries, letting the music seep into our deepest pores and swallow us whole, taking off our masks and letting us breathe for the first time.